Welcome back to the One Step Journey podcast, season 3, episode 14.
1-4.
Thank you,
we
guys.
Want more.
We want more, baby.
I'm sorry.
More for 4. Yeah. Thank you guys so much for tuning back in, taking another step with us here today on our journey, your journey, whatever journey in life you are on. We appreciate you. We love you, and we are so proud of you. And keep going. Keep fighting the good fight. Let's go, baby.
Keep fighting the
Let's
good
go.
fight and keep
Let's
fighting
go.
it. I love that.
Yeah. As we talked about in the last episode, we had a part 2.
About 4 minutes ago in real life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cat's out the back.
Yeah.
Cat's out
As
the
I
back.
said about 4 minutes ago in
Yeah.
real life,
Yeah.
part 2.
Yeah,
We
part
wanted
2.
to dive a little bit deeper onto the dark side of creation,
Yeah.
right? And what really comes with it.
Yeah.
So let's just dive right back into it.
Talk
And
to
I
me,
want to
Kev.
dive a little bit
Talk to
deeper.
me.
So I had hinted at the beginning of the last episode about what the dark side of creation is. Those long nights where you're doubting yourself, where you're editing the videos, where maybe your friends are out. And I also kind of think this goes along the lines of something that we had talked about. I can't remember how many episodes it was ago, it was, but where your circle's changing. And when you're setting off on this journey and you're looking to build whatever it is that you're building, your time is now going to be limited. You're going to be focusing on your YouTube, your Instagram, your content, your website, your book, whatever it is that you're doing. So now you're going to have to start being really selective with who you're spending your time with and what you're spending your time on. And so you also going along the lines of like those lonely nights, right? Your friends might be out. They might be watching the Super Bowl. They might be going out and getting a nice dinner, whatever it is. And you're at home working on your stuff.
Yeah.
Nobody talks about that.
No, not at all. Not at all. And, you know,
Does that make sense?
It makes complete sense. And I guess where my mind goes to that is I totally agree with you. But I think like it's and this is tough too. And maybe we can go back and forth on this a little bit because this is interesting. And I do have a couple points on this. But finding that balance though.
Yeah. Yes, I agree.
It's
agree.
It's a double-edged sword. And I think that it's, you know, so it's a double-edged sword. Reason being, a lot of people that I follow on Instagram or social media, I'm sure you do too, and other people out here in the world, you only hear about, let's say, like Elon Musk, for example. I'll throw him out there just because there's a book right there about him that kind of came to mind, right?
Yeah.
The guy doesn't stop working.
Yeah.
Right? That guy has no work-life balance. That guy is work all day.
Too much.
And that is it. Again, obviously he's very successful, right? That's one side of it. He has all this money. He's doing whatever he's doing, building businesses, you know, working in politics now, everything that he's doing, right? The dark side of that is what though?
There is no personal life.
There's no personal life. Family's kind of...
What do you have to show for it? Family's rocky. Kids don't
Correct.
really know you.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
So when there are dark sides to that I think it's obvious, but if you don't think about it, it's not at the top of your mind.
Yeah.
If that makes sense, right? Because we see it, but we don't really rationalize. Oh, you know, we only look at how much money Elon Musk has.
Yeah.
400 billion or whatever it is. But you don't know what's going on with the personal life or the kids, and that's the
know.
dark side of that too, which is so tough. So reason I bring that up is you can do whatever you want in life. But just know that there's going to be, right, actions have consequences.
Actions do.
Always.
Always.
Negative or positive. And
Yeah.
just understanding what's on this side of the line and what's on this side of the line when you go down that.
I agree with you. So you do obviously want to have some sort of life outside of work and whatever it is that you're building.
But do you, though?
But do you?
I'm just saying.
Exactly.
I'm just
but
throwing
do
that
you?
out there.
Because here's also the thing that I have is like, I'm also an avid believer. Again, E.T. the hip hop preacher, right? He talked about it. Every single day that you're putting off on working on your goals or your ambitions could be setting your dreams back 6 months, a whole year, a whole 6 years. So like me going, and this is just for example, me going that one night to go to Crosstown or to go watch the Super Bowl at Wilson's with the boys.
Correct.
I understand it's amazing. But who knows if I would have stayed home, what ideas I would have had or what video I could have made that maybe would have changed my life. So it's like you want to weigh
really
both of those
tough.
angles because it's
do.
like, yes, that's amazing. And I want to make memories and I want to be Jeffrey outside of everything that is that I'm building. But then it's also like, who knows what I could discover or create in this time where I'm locking myself in my room and I'm putting all 100% of my efforts on a YouTube video.
Yeah, right.
Or with the podcast. Like, who knows what kind of discussion we could have Or like if I was at a Bears game right now, whatever it is, obviously like the NFL season's over, but like I could be out doing whatever, right?
Totally.
Mini golfing with some girl versus like us making this podcast and having this discussion. Who knows how many lives, like whatever it is, said creation could impact,
Right.
and how like the effect it could have on our lives versus like just going and watching a baseball game with the boys.
Right.
So it's like there's obviously a double-edged sword, like you said.
Yeah. It is.
Because it's like you obviously don't want to be a hermit and cut off everybody and have no life outside of whatever it is that you're building.
You can't
but
do that.
you also want to give 100% attention and effort into what you're building to get somewhere.
Correct, too. And also,
Fuck, dude.
It's
Yeah,
tough,
you're
man.
right.
It's tough. But here's another perspective, too. You got to sacrifice, too, to get to that point of we'll use dollar amount as an example. You want to get to a point where you're comfortable and you kind of have money working for you so that, hey, you don't have to maybe worry as much.
Yeah.
And then you can enjoy those moments of watching the Super Bowl, or you can travel, or you can go on the Bears game, for example. But when you're creating and you're
What
building,
about when you're early on, though?
it's the thing. There's going to be a sacrifice at some point in that journey. And my advice to it's so interesting. We're going down this rabbit hole
This
here.
is good, though. This is good.
I love
This is
this.
the dark side of creation.
This is it. So I heard this perspective. I heard this a couple months ago. Is that you can either enjoy your 20s partying and then have to sacrifice in your 30s, or sacrifice in your 20s
so you can
and
live in the
enjoy it.
30s.
So it's like there's no right or wrong.
Yeah.
I just want to preface that. Whatever it is that you want to do, you do. But just again, it's just understanding and having the awareness of, hey, this comes with your choices and this comes with your actions. You
Yeah.
can't be upset. You made the choice. Great. We still have time. I'm 30, going to be 31, and I took this journey, started my late 20s.
Yeah.
I still have plenty of time. You have plenty of time too. Like, there's no rush.
But there's always two sides to everything, bro.
Talk to
Time
me.
is not guaranteed.
That is also true.
Time is not guaranteed, right? And when you push things off for later, whatever it is, right?
Totally.
Like God forbid, right? But like we never know when our time is up.
You don't know.
So
Right.
you have fuck, dude. Like there's a lot to think about
a lot,
here.
man.
Because I was literally just about to say, I would rather sacrifice and miss out on like watching all of the Bulls games or whatever
Totally.
it is with the boys.
Yeah.
Like right now, so that like when I'm, 5-6 years down the road, I have a lot more flexibility and I can enjoy it. But then it's like, fuck, God forbid something happens, right? And one of the boys is no longer here. And then it's like, now
tough.
I'm mad at myself because I skipped out on all those small memories of just like watching basketball games together. But like, that's what you remember, right? So it's like, fuck, dude.
So it's interesting though.
Damn, that's heavy,
it's
bro.
heavy.
There's a lot to think about.
Here's another perspective too. So Dan Martell, I don't know if you know who he is.
It sounds familiar.
So he is an entrepreneur. Look him up, dude. He's the man.
Yeah.
I've been following him for a little over a year now, and he just surpassed 1 million followers on Instagram and YouTube. And dude, the guy's absolutely crushing it. And he posted a video a couple weeks ago that was just a perspective shift, right? And this kind of goes against certain people's beliefs, but when you're on vacation, you're on vacation, right? When you're working, you're working. Don't take work with you on vacation. And then obviously the opposite.
So hard to do that.
It's tough, man.
Fucking impossible.
But he talks about where he doesn't take vacations. He just travels
Yeah.
and works, right? But he goes to all these cool ass places.
Yeah.
He's like I guess you could say constantly working, but he's also enjoying himself too, because he does go out on the snowmobiles too. Like he'll enjoy his time, right? So it's just finding that balance.
Yeah.
And kind of what works for you, and just accepting that that's your choice, right? So,
Yeah.
like for example, next week I'm going on a cruise, right? We're going on vacation.
Yeah.
It's really hard for me to kind of just cut off everything. So what's something I could do, right? I'm maybe not going to be on my phone, maybe not going to be on the internet as much.
Turn it off.
Turn it off. But I could still walk and talk. I could still network with people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like who am I going to meet on the cruise? I can meet someone.
You never know.
That one conversation could change my life.
100%.
I don't know.
100%.
So again, it's just finding that balance, right? Again, we can go back and forth all day.
Yeah.
Right. But it's just
Damn,
whatever
yes,
works for
yeah.
you, man. It's so interesting though.
It is, because it's like, if you think about it, bro, it's like, let's say, right? And then we're just obviously putting all, just random stuff out there just for food for thought and discussion. But like,
I love
what
it.
if I spend the next 10 years, 15 years, like building some of the projects that, haven't been announced yet.
For sure.
And, like focusing on the YouTube and building this platform and all this. And I skip out on all the Bulls games and I skip out on the family gatherings and all this kind of stuff. And then God forbid horrible stuff happens. And it's like, okay, I've built all this, but now what do I have to show for it? Like, who do I have to share it with?
That's true. That's a tough thing. But here's the thing though. You could think about that, but you got to worry about
right now.
You can't worry about that.
Yeah.
What's going to happen is going to happen, bro.
Yeah.
You got to focus on the moment and do what makes you happy.
You do
right
have
in
to
this
draw
moment.
that line, because I remember when I first started this job at Cynosure, before it was Cynosure Lutronic.
Right. Yeah.
Right. And I had told my manager at the time, I will give you 110% every single day and every minute that we're on the clock for work. But as soon as work is done, I'm drawing the line, because there's so much more that I do outside of work, right? Like we had already had the podcast, right?
That's right,
And it's
yeah.
like spending time with family and friends and working out and doing all that. Like, I'm not going to lose sight of who I am outside of this.
Correct.
So it's like, maybe you have to draw the line somewhere, like versus creation. And like, it's almost like Severance, innie and outie. You have to find
good example.
that line wherever you want to draw it. Like, okay, you're laser focused and you're grinding 28 days out of the month, but you have to give yourself 1 or 2 days to spend time with family and friends, or like whatever it is, to go travel and drive the snowmobiles, or just do whatever it is outside of it, because you have to hold on to like your humanity, quote unquote humanity, if that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Of who you are.
That's
Not
true.
to say that like you can't still bring the camera and like document some things, but like you still have to be present in the moment.
Yeah, you have to be.
Because like I would hate to build something for nothing.
Yeah. Hate to build something.
I would hate to
for
like build
nothing.
something, bro, and then like look around and like have nothing
100%.
and like nobody to share it with.
Well, and that's why I like, for example, this podcast is cool, because we
Yeah.
we easily could have just done a podcast by ourselves.
Yeah.
Right, but we decided no, we want to do it together.
Yeah.
We want to build something. So, right, and that's the cool thing about building things. That's why it's cool to get like-minded people that you can share those experiences with.
Yeah.
And you got to be careful though, because here's another dark side too. When you get to a point in life where you start to achieve success and you start to elevate a little bit in life, you got to be careful what you say to people, because that could come across as bragging.
Yeah.
As opposed to celebrating an achievement.
Or like motivating and inspiring.
See what I'm saying?
Right?
So you got to
Yeah.
be very careful who you share it with. Like, for example, right? Like, there's things we talk about off camera where, like, I know you accept it and you're proud of me, and vice versa.
Yeah.
If we were to share, it's per se
With a
as an
random
example.
stranger, be like, yo, why the fuck you like boasting about this?
Correct. Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So you have to be aware of that, and that's another dark side too.
Yeah.
When you go on this journey, because it is tough.
You also have to be careful who comes around after the success versus who was there before.
100%.
Yeah.
100%, man.
Yeah.
You know?
Who was there for me rooting? Like when I had nothing, when I had no job.
Absolutely. Who was there?
Who was there? That's what I'm saying. It's
a great question, bro. That is.
You look around and you see who's with you in the darkness, bro. Those are the people that you want when the light comes on.
Well, I guess technically you would kind of feel them in the darkness.
Yeah,
You can't
yeah.
see them because it's
you know
dark.
what I mean. Though.
I'm just
well,
kidding.
My eyes adapt. I can still see
I'm just
shadows
kidding.
and shit. If it's
I'm
pitch
just
black,
kidding.
like it's impossible.
No,
though.
100%.
There's got to be a little light leaking in through these
You're
big ass
so
windows
right.
or some shit,
I'm
right?
just-
But like,
I'm just being a goofball.
that's amazing. I do want to pivot real quick because I want to talk about something as well, right? And kind of change it. How do we overcome some of the self-doubt? How do we overcome some of that self-consciousness and just insecurity and all that kind of stuff when we're building something? Like, say that you put all this time into making a video in the office, or I put all the time into making a YouTube video, or like this podcast when we first started, bro, and you're getting 1-2 views on it.
Yeah.
And it's not gaining the traction that you were hoping, and you're putting so much time and effort into it. How do you like mentally stay sane? Because like when you're creating things, especially when you're putting it up to the eyes and the ears of the listener, the viewer, the watcher, the subscriber, and you're not getting that feeling back that like it's being appreciated, or that it's not resonating or sitting with as many people as you'd hope, like it fucks with you.
It does.
It makes you doubt yourself.
Totally. Yeah. And I have a response that is different, and whatever your opinion on it,
Yeah.
it is what it is. But you have to first find God. You got to find Him, because everything's going to work out. It's already planned. He already
Yeah.
has everything planned for you.
Yeah.
The end's already made. Everything in between is up for grabs, though. Obviously, right?
Yeah.
because you have to be drugged through the mud a little bit.
Yeah, you do.
Right? I mean, that's just what it is.
Yeah.
So for me, it's a simple answer. Find God.
Ooh.
Trust him.
Find God and find yourself.
It's already there. Everything that you're looking for, everything's already been made and already been done. Right? The moment that I accepted that and I regained my faith with him and took that journey with him, all the anxiety started to crumble tremendously.
Yeah.
Whether it's reading the Bible, whether it's using the Bible app for me, whatever
Yeah.
it is. And
Whatever it is.
we don't need to go super deep because whatever your viewpoint is your
Yeah.
viewpoint. This is my viewpoint. Whatever, I don't really care. But
Yeah.
something for me that's helped me to answer the question was finding God.
Yeah.
Everything started to eliminate.
Everything started to eliminate
It
all the
did.
doubt,
It does. Now, there's going to be days, obviously, right? Where
the long days.
I'm gonna feel that, right? But I take a moment. I talk to the Lord. I read the Bible verse, whatever it is that works for me, and then I'm back where I need to be. I'm back in the present moment.
Yeah.
So, but I'm gonna flip it back to you. What's something that works for you in those moments of angst, anxiety, frustration, fear?
I'm trying to think, bro.
Well, here,
It's heavy.
yeah, I got something real quick. I want to share real quick, and then I'll
Yeah.
let you get into it. It's getting back to the point about God. You can't have faith and have fear at the same time.
Yeah. Ooh.
You can't. You can't have faith and can't have fear. It's one or the other. You know what I mean? Because if you're having faith, you're having faith that of the unknown is going to happen.
Yeah.
But if you're fearful of it, then what's the point?
Yeah, 100%. I agree with you. And just to kind of piggyback off of that, you're asking me that, and I think the reason why I'm at a little bit of a loss for words, bro, is because I have no doubt in my mind that this, it's not going to work.
Yeah. Right.
I don't doubt that, I'm not going to grow a platform on YouTube.
Right.
I don't doubt that, it's
100%.
not going to happen, and it's
Right.
not going to change my life, and it's not going to change thousands, if not millions of people's lives around the world.
Amen.
I
Amen,
feel,
brother.
I feel it in every bone and every fiber of my body.
Let's go.
This is gonna catapult.
I already know it is.
Yeah.
I know it is. Just a
and
matter
so
of time.
is the other thing.
Right. For sure.
Yes.
But again, I mean,
But there's obviously dark times.
just going to say.
Right? There's obviously going to be dark times, and it's not all going to be perfect, and I'm still going to post a YouTube video and it could get 60 views, whatever. But you also have to think about it, right? And this is something that I do is I remind myself, it's not about the number of views. If I can create a YouTube video that impacts one person's life, that's all that matters. Even if the video gets one view and it's that one person, and they, in their mind, they're like, damn, this kind of made me want to get up and change my life. Or damn, this made me want to get back in the gym. Or damn, I've been having a shitty day. This guy's kind of funny, right? He maybe said a little joke in there that kind of cheered me up. If I can impact one person's life in a positive manner, then that video is worth it.
100%.
So you have to steer clear of looking at the views versus impact. Chase change, not the dollar. Chase change.
I love that. Chase change,
Chase
not
change.
the dollar. Ooh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's fire.
Not even from a monetary standpoint of chasing change, right?
No, correct.
obviously,
I know.
pennies and nickels and dimes, but in quarters. Chase change. I want to change people for the better.
I love that, dude.
And it's when you think about it, let's say that you're house sitting or whatever it is, right? You always want to leave the room nicer than when you walked in. You always want to leave that person in more positive and more uplifted than when you met them.
Absolutely.
Leave a positive impact.
Yeah.
And that's something that I remind myself on those dark nights where I'm doubting myself and I'm like, fuck, is this the journey I need to be on? Obviously, I don't think that it's not going to work out, but obviously, we all have insecurities. We all have those moments where you're crippled a little bit and you might have a little moment of weakness.
Yeah. And that's okay.
And that's okay.
You're supposed to feel that way.
Yeah.
Because
that's the devil working though.
Right. But you have to be aware of that. That's how you know you're on the right path. When those moments do come in, you're like, oh, because it's not supposed to be comfortable and cozy and just easy. It's supposed to be hard.
Something that and I've had this conversation with William. Shout out to William.
William.
Yo, cancer free, William.
Let's go.
He's cancer free.
The man.
Did he call you?
No, I talked to him in a little bit.
I didn't want to be the one that broke the news.
That's
but
okay.
He
But
called me the other day.
congratulations. Yes.
William.
Let's go, William.
Cancer free, my
boy.
fucking brother.
I love you,
dude.
bro.
And
Let's go.
that's big.
I gotta
That's
call
big.
him today.
He called me when I was in Bloomington.
I'm gonna call him today.
That is huge. But I've had this conversation with him so many times, and it's we have this constant discussion. I'm like, I need to have achieved so much more by this time. He's 24, bro. He's fucking young,
Dude,
right? he needs to give himself some fucking slack.
Chill down a little
right?
bit,
He's like, I
William.
should be buying a house and all these running products.
Dude, you're
whatever.
right where you're supposed to be, brother.
But it's exactly. And I tell him, brother, something that brings me peace is knowing that at whatever it is on Friday, February 14th, on Valentine's Day in 2025, I have everything that God wants me to have. Nothing more, nothing less in this very moment.
Correct.
I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be.
Amen.
Find God
Literally,
and find
amen.
yourself.
Yeah.
Literally.
That's so powerful. Literally, once you
Shoulda, coulda, woulda. Oh, I should have. Whatever.
should ask, it doesn't matter.
Whatever. In this very moment, you have everything that you're supposed to have. Nothing more, nothing less. In this very moment, I'm supposed to have 121 subscribers on YouTube.
Dude. Amen.
That's it. Nothing more, nothing less.
That's where you're
In
supposed
6
to
months, 100K? Maybe.
be. Maybe 250K.
No, seriously. If that's what he wants.
You never know.
Or maybe it'll take me 2 years,
Doesn't matter.
3 years, 4 years, 5 years, but I'm going to stay the course.
Yeah. Because
Stay consistent.
the end is already determined.
Yeah,
baby.
the end is already determined. And rest in peace, Kobe Bean Bryant. You have to become obsessed with the journey. You have to become obsessed with the journey. You have to take those long nights, those moments where you're doubting yourself, those moments where you're questioning the journey, you're questioning the path. Take those on the fucking chin.
Boom.
And get back in the ring and throw a fucking punch right back.
Yeah. Have
And
to.
stand up. I don't want to get too fired up.
I know.
Bro.
We're good,
I'll start
man.
getting
There's
extremely
so much.
jacked up.
No, I know.
There's so much.
Yeah.
This is an amazing conversation.
Yeah, I love this stuff.
I
This
told
is
you guys,
fruitful.
if you listen to part 1, we were going to be diving deep on this.
We did.
The dark side of creation that nobody talks about. And that's one of the things that I know both of us, when we first started Boys for Life, we wanted to come on here and talk about the good and motivate and inspire and just like talk about life. But most importantly, we wanted to talk about the ugly. We wanted to have those tough conversations. We wanted to talk about the things that maybe people don't always talk about as we should, but that we all deal with.
Yeah. That's true.
And again, like I want to remind you guys, like everything that we're talking about, we're speaking from personal experience when it comes to like building an Instagram following or for a YouTube, a social media presence. But like everything that we've talked about doesn't just apply to like building an online platform. This is
Right.
everything with your job, with your family, with whatever it is on your fitness journey, on your faith journey, whatever it is. There's going to be dark moments to creating something,
yeah.
right? And you just have to find your why. You have to cling to it, and you just have to keep showing up day in and day out.
Right. You have to. You have to. And when you're on that journey, I got. This is my last thought that I have right now.
Let's just drop it.
This
just
is
mic,
it.
Just drop the
This is
freaking
it.
mic.
Here, think about it. When you're going on this journey, it's easier for people to say you've changed as opposed to saying you've grown. It's easier to say you've changed as opposed to saying that you've grown in life. So just keep that in the back of your mind when you embark on this journey, whatever it is, it's supposed to happen.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Kind of just to piggyback off that real quick. It's just something that came to me, bro. It's just like, and I love it. And I was watching something on Instagram the other day, and it's like when you haven't seen somebody in a while, and they come up to you and say, "Damn, bro, you've changed. What the fuck did you think I was gonna do? Stay the same as I was back in high school?
Correct.
In college?
Yeah.
You're supposed to change.
Yeah.
Just like I said it 5 minutes ago, chase change. Be better.
Yeah.
The one thing that's amazing about life, and this is the last thing I'm going to say, is that the amazing thing about it, obviously, every single day that we wake up on this planet and we're inhaling this oxygen and we're walking around is a blessing. But every single day that you wake up, if you don't like the reflection in the mirror, if you don't like the person that you are, if you don't like the situation that you're in, you can change it. You can become better. You can put down the bottle. You can put down the pills. You can put down the lying, the manipulating. You could put down the deceit. You could put down the lack of discipline. You could put down the lack of motivation. You could change.
Yeah.
You could become whoever it is that you want to be on this planet. Chase your dreams. Let's leave it at that. Thank you guys so much for tuning into the part 2. This one was an amazing one. Thank you so much for coming back in and taking another step with us on this journey, on your journey. Whatever journey that you are on, we are proud of you. Keep walking. As you guys know, new videos every single Tuesday. We really appreciate the continuous love and support every single week, coming back in and taking another step with us on this journey. Thank you so much for listening, watching, viewing, and subscribing. We'll catch you on the next one. Happy Valentine's Day.
Yeah, buddy.
We love you guys.
Love you guys.
Peace.
Later.
Fuck, that was a good one, bro. That was a really good one. Yes. Yes.